Hello and welcome to Press Play, the show that helps you decide if a game is press play worthy or you should eject it and move on. I'm your host Brian Clevenger, so let's get to it. This week on Press Play, we're surviving the strange and the brutal. We dive into the eerie countryside of Atomfall, then head straight into the radioactive heart of STALKER 2. Plus our top survival picks from Minecraft to Subnautica, what's up with the Switch 2, and Netflix future plans. So grab your controller, settle in, and let's press play. What if the world ended quietly? No explosions, no sirens, just fog, fear, and a government that stopped answering questions. Atomfall is a survival mystery set in 1950s Britain, where radiation isn't the only thing creeping through the countryside. It's slow, unsettling, and unlike anything you've ever played this year. The grass sways in the wind, but everything else is still. Abandoned cottages with lace curtains that haven't moved in years. A toppled teacup sits on the windowsill. Outside, the air hums, thick with radiation and something harder to name. This is Atomfall, where the apocalypse came quietly and no one dares ask why. Atomfall is the next narrative survival game from Rebellion, the folks behind Sniper Elite and Zombie Army, but this time they've traded bullet cams and undead Nazis for something far more subtle and far more unsettling. Set in a fictionalized version of royal 1950s Britain, Atomfall reimagines the aftermath of a real-life nuclear disaster, one that's been scrubbed from the history books. It blends survival mechanics with environmental storytelling, placing you in the shoes of an ordinary person trying to survive in an extraordinary situation. It's part walking sim, part survival light, and part psychological thriller wrapped in Cold War paranoia and old world folklore. Gameplay in Atomfall is slow and deliberate, but not dull. There's no XP bar, no fast travel, no flashy combat system. This is survival as discomfort. You're hungry, you're tired, and your map doesn't always match what's in front of you. You'll start with nothing, a basic map, maybe a can of beans, a vague direction from strangers who doesn't meet your eyes. Supplies are limited. You'll scavenge houses, check drawers, and occasionally find a rusted crowbar or a packet of painkillers. There is a weight system, when managing your inventory becomes less about hoarding and more about choosing what you're willing to leave behind. Combat isn't the point, but it does exist. Some encounters can be avoided with stealth or conversation, others, especially in more militarized zones, turn violent. Weapons field makeshift pipes, pistols, and bolt-action rifles. Ammo is scarce, and your best defense is often a good pair of legs and an exit plan. What's unique is how the game encourages exploration without ever feeling safe. There are no glowing markers or glowing loot trails. You explore because you're curious, and the game rewards with quite tension. You might find a note tucked in a drawer that unravels a character's entire backstory, or stumble across a house frozen in time, its residents long gone. Or not. If there's one thing Atomfall nails, it's atmosphere. The zone here isn't a bombed out war zone, it's a haunted countryside, one that feels familiar but off. You'll walk past sheep that don't blink, fences covered in warning signs, and towns where people still go to the pub, but they don't talk about what's happening beyond the hedgerow. The narrative unfolds in fragments, diaries, overheard conversations, strange broadcasts on an old radio. You'll piece together what happened, but more importantly, you'll uncover how people respond to it. There are cults that believe the nuclear blast was a divine sign, military checkpoints manned by soldiers who don't answer questions, families who stayed in their homes long after they were told to evacuate. The game touches on themes of control, misinformation, memory, and belief. There's an edge of British folk humor to it, like Children of the Stones meets Chernobyl. The tone never goes full supernatural, but it never lets you feel safe either. And the setting is gorgeous and eerie. Rolling hills, fog-choked forests, stone churches, and country road that disappear into the mist. It's Britain through a broken lens, and it's one of the most distinctive settings I've seen in a survival game in years. Visually, Atomfall is striking, not because it's technicality mind-blowing, but because it's so focused. The art direction leans into desaturated greens and browns, giving everything a vintage, almost photo bleach look. It captures that 1950s British charm, then slowly corrupts it. Environments are handcrafted and dense with details, from propaganda posters peeling off crumbling walls to fields dotted with mutated wildlife. Lighting is key here. Dusk and dawn scenes are especially beautiful, casting long shadows across ruined farms and foggy valleys. Performance-wise, Atomfall runs impressively well. The frame rate stays consistent, with smooth transitions between areas that help maintain immersion, even during more demanding moments like exploring dense forests or navigating ruined interiors. Load times are minimal, and the game does a great job of keeping you moving without frequent interruptions. That said, there is one recurring hiccup: brief stuttering during autosave moments. It's not a deal breaker by any means, it's just noticeable, especially when you're creeping through tense areas and the game suddenly lurches for a second. Hopefully that is something Rebellion can iron out in future patches. Atomfall is not a big action or a big spectacle. It's about quiet unease. It's a game that makes you pause, not because you're planning your next headshot, but because you're not sure what that thing is moving in the fog. It's survival, not as a power fantasy, but as a slow unraveling. It asks you to think, to explore, and to question everything you're told. And in an era of games filled with endless icons and over-explained quests, that feels like a breath of fresh, irradiated air. If you're a fan of Firewatch, Stalker, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, or an Amnesia the Bunker, this game belongs on your radar. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 due to that it's kind of complicated to know where to go next and get lost. You'll eventually find it, but with no fast travel and can be a long walk back. So if you love survival games like Fallout, I would say press play. And speaking of Stalker, welcome back to the zone, where bullets are rare, silence is deadly, and only thing more dangerous than radiation is curiosity. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl isn't just a sequel, it's a survival gauntlet through one of the most haunting worlds in gaming. And trust me, the zone remembers everything. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl is the long-awaited sequel to one of gaming's most influential survival shooters. Developed by GSC Game World and now available on PC and Xbox Series X and S, this entry builds on the cult legacy of the original trilogy while updating it for a new generation. Part open-world survival sim, part horror experience, and part immersive shooter, Stalker 2 drops you back into the irradiated heart of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, a place teeming with secrets, mutants, and things that can't be explained, let alone survived. Let's talk about survival, because in Stalker 2, it's not optional, it's a mindset. From the moment you step into the zone, you're up against more than enemies, you're battling hunger, radiation, exhaustion, weather, and the crushing weight of isolation. Gameplay is slow and deliberate. You're not sprinting from objectives to objective, you're scavenging, checking every corner, listening for footsteps that might not be human. The gunplay is precise but brutal. Every shot counts. Weapon degrade over time, and maintaining your gear is just as important as using it. Inventory management is key, and hoarding can kill you. Carrying too much and your stamina tanks. Use up all your meds too early and one scratch could end your run. Every skirmish leaves a mark, and the game doesn't just expect you to live with the consequences, it forces you to. But this isn't a game of non-stop firefights. Stealth is often the smarter move. Sneak around enemy patrols, avoiding anomalies, and don't go into the dark tunnel unless you really have to. The heart of Stalker 2 is its world, the zone itself. It's more than just a backdrop, it is the antagonist. Mutated wildlife, abandoned Soviet labs, haunted villages swallowed by overgrowth, every location tells a story even before the first line of dialogue kicks in. The story follows a new protagonist known as Skiff, a stalker searching for answers in a place that rarely gives them. And while the main narrative is there, what really pulls you in are the discoveries. The taped recordings left behind, the old journals, the strange whispers you heard at night. Anomalies return from the original games, those deadly, supernatural phenomena that distort time, space, and physics. Some hover like static clouds, others pull your body part molecule by molecule. If you step too close, you'll need to toss bolts to detect them and find rare detectors to safely navigate their invisible zones. And then there are the emissions. These aren't just weather changes, they're apocalyptic storms that force you into shelter or die trying. They are beautifully rendered and absolutely terrifying. Visually, Stalker 2 is stunning. The zone has never looked this good or this grim. Dynamic lighting, fog, and detailed textures make every moment feel grounded. It's gritty, but never ugly. On the technical side, performance is solid, though not without a few rough edges. There are occasional bugs, mostly AI related or environmental hiccups, but nothing game breaking so far, and considering the size and complexity of the world, that's impressive. The sound design deserves special mention. The distant echo of gunfire, the whines of anomalies, the sudden silence before something bad happens, it all wraps you in dread. Stalker 2 is not fast, it's not forgiving, and it's definitely not here to hold your hand, but that's what makes it special. If you've got the patience to dig into the system, the stomach for some bleak storytelling, and the curiosity to follow every strange signal on your PDA, you'll find one of the most immersive, rewarding survival games of the year. It's not about winning, it's about enduring. And if that sounds like your kind of challenge, then welcome to the zone. Stalker 2 doesn't just challenge your aim, it's challenging your nerves, your instincts, and your patience. It's rough around the edges, but the atmosphere, survival mechanics, and world building are top tier. It's a game that doesn't care if you're comfortable because the zone never is, and that's exactly what makes it compelling. I give this game an 8 out of 10. Chilling, immersive, and unapologetically brutal. The game is very hardcore when it comes to combat and traversal, with anomalies everywhere you turn, so watch your step, could be your last. So, should you press play? If you are into survival, hardcore wastelands, then absolutely. Survival games aren't just about staying alive, they're about managing pressure. Hunger, weather, creature, chaos, each game puts you in a different kind of danger. So let's break down how survival actually works in these worlds. Minecraft. In Minecraft, survival starts simple. Gather, craft, build. You punch trees by day and fend off skeletons and creepers by night. Hunger keeps you moving, fall damage keeps you humble, and the environment itself, from lava flow to deep caves, is always ready to punish a bad decision. It's Survival 101, but in block form. Raft. In Raft, the world is water, and your platform is your lifeline. You'll need to collect debris, purify water, cook food, and expand your floating base, all while managing thirst and hunger. And of course, there's always that shark. Miss a beat, and you're swimming with it. Subnautica. Subnautica drops you to an alien ocean, and your biggest threat is isolation. You'll manage oxygen levels, temperature, hunger, and hydration while crafting tools, building underground bases, and slowly unlocking the planet's secrets. Resources are scarce, danger is everywhere, and one wrong dive can end it all. No Man's Sky. In No Man's Sky, survival takes a cosmic twist. Each planet has its own hazards. Radiation, toxic storm, extreme temperatures, and your suit's life support systems are constantly ticking down. You'll gather elements to stay alive, upgrade your gear, and learn to survive in a universe that doesn't care if you make it. RimWorld. RimWorld is about group survival, with complexity turned up to 11. You're managing colonists who eat, sleep, bleed, go mad, and develop relationships, sometimes with your animals. Food shortages, infections, raids, mental breaks. It's not just survival, it's damage control, and every choice becomes part of a story you don't even know you're writing. Whether you're fending off creepers, diving into alien ocean, or calming down on a colonist who just punched your chef, survival games challenge your instincts and sometimes your sanity, but when everything finally checks, that's when the magic happens. It's time for Game News, where we break down the biggest stories shaking up the industry, one headline at a time. For new releases and major updates to surprise announcements and studio drama. If it's happening in games, it's happening here. Let's dive in. Nintendo has officially announced the Switch 2, launching June 5th with several major upgrades. The new system features a 7.9-inch 1080 display, 4K support when docked, and a revamped Joy-Con controller with a C button that activates game chat, an integrated voice and screen sharing feature requiring a Nintendo Switch Online subscription. The Switch 2 will retail at $449.99 with a launch bundle including Mario Kart World priced at $499.99. That's a notable increase from the original Switch $299 launch. Nintendo says US pre-orders expected April 9th are delayed due to tariffs and market conditions. Critics say tariffs may be to blame. Industry analyst Juice Van Duren called the price hike a Trump tax. Consoles are manufactured in China. Washington Post reporter Gene Park noted Mario Kart World is priced at $80. Nintendo's most expensive title to date, amid a wider industry trend towards $100 games. Nintendo revealed several exclusives, including Donkey Kong Bonanza, Kirby Air Riders, and a new Project 007. Third-party reveals include Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment and the Dusk Blood from Software. The Switch 2 is backwards compatible, but requires a microSD Express card. A transfer feature will allow data migration from the original Switch. Nintendo also announced select GameCube games will be available to Switch Online subscribers. As major players like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo prepare their next generation of gaming hardware, Netflix's president of games, Elaine Taskin, is envisioning a future where consoles may no longer be central to the gaming experience. Speaking with game businesses following a Netflix presentation in San Francisco, Taskin questioned whether younger gamers are interested in what traditional consoles offer. Look at the younger generation. Are 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds dreaming of owning a PlayStation 6? I'm not sure, Taskin said. They want to interact with a digital screen, whether you are even in a car. Taskin emphasized that Netflix gaming strategy is focused on platform-agnostic access and low-friction experiences. In contrast to the Move-rigid ecosystem and traditional consoles, he noted that factors like expensive hardware, the need for multiple controllers, and long download times can be barriers for families and casual gamers. Even if subscription can be friction, Taskin added, we tested removing it for Squid Games Unleashed, and we may do more tests like that. While Taskin admitted to having a soft spot for consoles, calling out the Nintendo Wii as a personal favorite, his career at EA, Ubisoft, and Epic Games have shifted now towards mobile-first, flexible gaming experiences. For Netflix, that means offering games like Stranger Things 3, the game, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the Definitive Edition, all accessible directly through smartphones. Netflix is also targeting party games and family-friendly experiences, aiming to become a hub for casual gamers and younger audiences. The company saw the gaming engagement triple in 2023, despite reports in 2021 that fewer than 1% of subscribers were playing Netflix games. Still, it hasn't all been growth. In late 2024, Netflix shut down its internal AAA game studio, once led by developer from Overwatch, Halo, and God of War. More recently, layoffs hit Oxenfree developers, Night School Studio, which Netflix acquired in 2021. As Netflix charts a future with fewer barriers and more accessibility, traditional gaming giants are still moving forward. Sony and Microsoft continue to develop the next iteration of the PlayStation and Xbox, and Nintendo's release later on this year. One of the biggest conversations coming out of the recent Switch 2 Direct isn't about the games, it's about the prices. Mario Kart World is launching with a suggested price of $80 in the US. Even Donkey Kong Bonanza, which comes at a bit lower, is listed at $69.99 in the US. Digital versions may shave a few bucks off, but it's still a tough pill to swallow for fans used to Nintendo's more conservative pricing. But remember, those are just suggested prices. Retailers can set their own, and some Europe already are. As flagged by John Cartwright over at Blue Sky, several EU listings for Switch 2 titles are already showing up at around £60, about $65 USD, which is a solid £20 under Nintendo's recommendation. French retailer CD Discount, for example, has Donkey Kong Bonanza listed at £59.90, and regional Amazon listings for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions are showing similar prices. So far, UK stores are starting adjusting, and storefronts in Spain and Italy are sticking with the full MSRP, but with pre-orders just starting to trickle out, there's still time for that to change. Meanwhile, during the Treehouse presentation, the live chat was absolutely flooded with drop the price chants. As Nintendo showed off gameplay, the sticker shock is real, but these early discounts suggest that relief might be on the way. Let's take a look at what's coming soon, because April 8th through April 10th is absolutely unhinged in the best way, whether you're racing bikes, solving cosmic mysteries, or managing depressed mascots. There's something for everyone this week. South of Midnight, April 8th. A southern gothic fantasy soaked in folklore and atmosphere, you'll explore a twisted version of the Deep South, filled with magic, mystery, and a truly unforgettable visual style. This one could sneak up on a lot of people. Drive Loop Survivors, April 9th. Top-down car meets bullet hell chaos. It's fast, frantic, and perfect for short runs where every second counts. Think Mad Max if it were arcade-sized and totally unhinged. The Talos Principle Reawaken, April 10th. The philosophical puzzle hit returns, diving even deeper into questions about humanity, AI, and identity. Gorgeous environments, challenging logic, and a surprisingly emotional core makes this one a must-play for fans of cerebral sci-fi. Blueprints, April 10th. A surreal exploration game where you uncover one new room per in-game day in a procedurally generated mansion. It's eerie, strategic, and strangely poetic. Definitely one for the indie crowd. Crashlands 2, April 10th. Craft, survive, and laugh your way through a bizarre alien world. It's colorful, chaotic, and loaded with personality. If you like the first game, this sequel looks like pure intergalactic joy. Monaco 2, April 10th. The slick co-op heist game is back, now in full 3D. You and your crew sneak, steal, and sprint your way through the stylish environments. Plan a perfect job, or wing it with glorious chaos.
And Cicero will make sure they nap after.
Monster Energy Supercross 25, April 10th. Dirt, speed, and insane jumps return with the latest in motocross realism. Supercross 25 brings updated tracks, real-world riders, and all the monster-fueled adrenaline fans love.
Count me in.
Promise Mascot Agency, April 10th. This one's weird, in a good way. You manage a team of washed-up mascots in a strange, slightly creepy world. It's part management sim, part narrative mystery, and all kinds of unsettling charm. That's 8 wildly different games dropping in just 8 days. From soulfully storytelling and absurd arcade chaos, April's shaping up to be one of the most stacked weeks in recent memory, so maybe hold off on some sleep. Alright, it's time to dig into the digital dumpster and see what kind of gems are hiding in this week's bargain bin. Whether you're into grim fairy tales, tactical ducks, or just want to slice demons at a discount, there's something on sale for every platform right now. Over on PC, Bramble, the Mountain King, is a grim adventure set in a world inspired by dark Nordic fables. Explore the beautiful yet dangerous and twisted lands of Bramble in your endeavor to rescue your sister. Traverse the wondrous landscape and survive deadly encounters with Bramble's many hideous creatures. Get it now over on Steam for 80% off at $5.99 until April 13th. Viewfinder. Challenge perception, redefine reality, and reshape the world around you with an instant camera. Viewfinder is a new single-player game offering gamers hours of interesting and fun experiences while encountering the mysterious left behind. You can get it now on Steam for $12.49 before the sale ends on April 18th. Over on Xbox, Devil May Cry 5 is pure stylish action turned up to 11. You take control of 3 distinct characters, Dante, Nero, and the mysterious newcomer V, each with their own unique combat style and an absolutely over-the-top flair. The game's all about chaining together high-speed combos, dodging with precision, and looking effortlessly cool while slaying demons. Can't get it now with the new show on Netflix for $9.99, ends on April 16th. World War Z is a heart-pounding co-op third-person shooter for up to 4 players, featuring massive swarms of hundreds of zombies, focused on fast-paced, gruesomely spectacular action, now on sale over on Xbox for $9.89, sale ends on April 17th. Over on PlayStation, Mutant Year Zero. Tactical turn-based combat with real-time exploration and stealth in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity has long since fallen, and mutant animals walk the earth. You control a squad of survivors, including a grumpy talking duck named Dux and a boar named Borman, as they search for the mythical Eden. With a PlayStation Plus account, you can get this for $10.49, offers in on April 24th. Graveyard Keeper. Build and manage a medieval graveyard while facing ethical dilemmas and making questionable decisions. Welcome to Graveyard Keeper, the most inaccurate medieval cemetery sim of the year. With a PlayStation Plus account, you can get it for $3.99, offer ends on April 24th. Over on Nintendo Switch, Dead Cells. Dead Cells is a roguelike Metroidvania-inspired action platformer. You explore a sprawling, ever-changing castle, assuming you're able to fight your way past its keepers in 2D soul-like combat. No checkpoints. Kill, die, learn, repeat. Get it now on Switch for $12.49 until April 15th. Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Team up with Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, Rabbid Luigi, and their friends on a galactic journey to defeat the malevolent entity and save your Spark companions. Explore planets through a galaxy as you uncover mysteries, secrets, and compelling quests. Get it for $14.99 over Nintendo Switch. Offer ends on April 15th. From twisted Nordic fables to zombie-filled streets and pixel-perfect platforming, these deals won't last long, so grab what you can before the clock runs out. And remember, just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's not legendary. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Press Play. We wandered through the haunting hills of Atomfall, braved the zone in STALKER 2, broke down the best survival experiences, and stacked up on some solid deals in the bargain bin. New episodes drop every week, so keep that backlog in check. And if you're eyeing a new game, don't miss the latest releases and those price drops. Thanks for hanging out, and until next time, keep playing, keep exploring, and as always, press play. And hey, if you're looking for a place to talk games, share your favorite finds, or just hang out with people who love the stuff as much as you do, come join us on the Press Play Discord. Whether you want to trade tips, chat about the latest episode, or find someone to co-op with, we'll love to have you there.